Welcome, welcome. How you guys doing? Oh boy. The Craftigans is coming, Alice. Can you guys hear me okay? Hello, hello. You guys hear me all right? For some reason, our last video was a little bit fuzzy on the close up camera. It doesn't look that way on our TV, but the last one was. Can you guys hear me? Can you arrow down so I can see if there's answers? When you can.
With my third hand.
Ah, there we go. All right. I'm still working asking friends. Can everybody hear me all right? Hi, Kathy girl. Hi, Alice. Oh, yes, you can. Brenda, great. Thank you. So the latest on Craftiganza is I haven't touched it yet. I did the 2 new class kits last night, or got them listed. I put up the Brits Bargain, which took hours because my computer was not being friendly. But I got that, and I got your newsletter out by 6 a.m. And I haven't touched any of the others yet because then I slept for 6 hours and got up, and I've been on the phone with customers since. So, nope, haven't touched Craftiganza yet, but I plan to get at it just as soon as I possibly can. So, yeah, it's coming. Let's talk about what we're going to do today. This is going to be fun. We're going to get as many done as we can. So, we're going to get right into things. We're going to do this one. We have 9 cards in total. I don't know if we get through all of them. We probably won't get through all, but we will get through as many as we can. We'll do this one. This one. This will finish off Box Kit 7. We have the fun little rabbit. We have the raccoon. We have the lamb. Oh, hello there. Hello, hello. We have another raccoon. We have another little rabbit. And we have the little duck. So this is the last of our cards from Box Kit 7. We will have a total from the 3 classes with Box Kit 7. We will have a total of 21 cards we will have completed from this set. So an amazing assortment of things. Let's just get right into our kit. Now these came out of Box Kit, or out of the Class Kit 1. Remember, this is some of the stuff out of the Box Kit. So you had to have Box Kit 1 in order to have the toppers and the insert pages. And the expressions are amazing on these. You're right, Mary, they're beautiful. Let's see what you get in your class kit. Some people noticed how inexpensive the class kit was and wondered if they got anything of value. Well, let's see. You get all this Mary. You get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 A6 Mary, a 6x6 Mary, a DL Mary. You get cards. We get envelopes. We get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 A6 Mary, another envelope. You get a 6x6 card. You get a DL card. You get a 7x7 envelope. That is for the rocker card. And you get the rocker card base. You get some colored cardstock for some of our layering on the rocker card and some of the other card bases. So yeah, plus foam squares, ribbon, and gems. That's what you're getting for your class kit price. So I'd say you're getting a lot for a little. So that's pretty fun. I just want to start into an easy card or two and kind of ease into things. So let's jump in and let's do a couple of our little cards first. Looks like I do have some bows to tie, but I'm wondering how many are wrapped around. That's wrapped around. This is a glue on. Wrap around, wrap around. So I only have one glue on bow. Let's get that tied very first thing. I'm going to grab my red bow maker. Been using the blueberries a lot. It's time to give the red bow maker some equal attention. I'm going to grab my ribbon out of here. And we're going to start in tying this pretty little bow. It's basically a 515. So we're going to put our cord, our ribbon, in the first slot. We're going to come to number 5, which is the last tine in our little tines. Whatever we do to the first one, we have to do to the other side. So we're going to do 5 over here. We're going to come back across and we're going to wrap this ribbon around number 1. We're going to come back to number 1. We're going to come back across again and we're going to do 5 again. 5. Once we know how much ribbon we need, that will give us a pretty good indication of when we can trim our ribbon. So we're going to cut it so we have about that much. We're going to go down through the hole in the bow maker. We're going to shimmy our ribbon on up onto the bow maker. We're going to tie an overhand knot, just a simple overhand knot. As those of you who have been through the bow class and most of my classes know, we're going to twist our ribbon a little bit so that the back of the ribbon is towards us. We're going to make sure that the center of our bow is right in the middle over that channel. Sometimes it has a tendency to want to slide a little bit at this point. It wants to be right in the middle. We're going to slide this off the bow maker. Take a look at the front, and it's absolutely beautiful. We're going to we're going to clip some whale tails here. And twist this a little bit because the back of my ribbon was forward. Twist this end a little bit. I'm going to fold it like a taco. The fold at the bottom, I'm going to clip upward towards the end of my ribbon to create that pretty little whale tail. Same thing here. I'm going to fold the taco up at an angle to get our second side of our bow. Then we'll adjust our tails where we want it. Okie dokie. We have a new friend, hopefully will be joining us. I've just spent some time on the phone with Caroline?
Sherry.
And she was going to try and tune in today. So I hope you... Hi, Sherry. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. Nice to have you with us.
Sherry's joining us from Facebook.
Oh, excellent. Welcome, Sherry. Good to see everybody. Betty, Alice, Brenda, Mary R., Kathy Girl. Catch everybody? Yeah, I'm sure we'll be having others join us shortly here. So I'm going to get some Best Glue Ever on this bow. Now, again, those of you who tune in regularly know that I'm a real fan of the Best Glue Ever for gluing on bows. And the risk of boring those of you who hear this all the time, I'm going to explain that Best Glue Ever basically dries into a glue dot. Why not just use a glue dot? Because the fibers in different ribbons can kind of, oh, hello, that was way more glue than I wanted. It just kind of spurted on me. That can happen. I'm going to pick up some of that, move it to other places. Might take this one a little while to dry. The glue dot can kind of be deactivated by the fibers in fabric. And when you use the best glue ever and it goes on as a liquid, it has the opportunity to get down in all of those fibers. It's going to look great. See, you only want can you zoom in just a little bit? You only want a little bit. It can out as a lot, but you'll see that I spread it so you only get a little bit. See there? Now, when this is dry, that's going to be completely transparent. We're going to let it dry completely into a glue dot before we use it. If you use it before it's dry, you will get subpar results and you won't like it. And then you'll think, this is not a good product. You deceived me. But it is a great product. Just let it dry first. And once it's dry, it's already bonded in all those fibers. And you really never had a problem with it bonding to the paper. So it will hang on and stay on when it's dried. Let's cover a couple of our cards here. Excuse me?
Your drink cup is in the middle of the camera.
Sure, let me have a swig out of it. The pause that refreshes. Okay, one of the things you'll notice in our kits, we have a couple new people, so I'm going to give a little bit more detail today. One of the things you'll notice in our kits is that we use 300 GSM cardstock. That is the equivalent of about a 110-pound card in the US. So we're using the good stuff. And these cards are manufactured in the UK. We import them from UK. These are from a company called Craft Style. And we are really, really happy with their products. The tape you see me using is finger lift tape. I usually put 2 or 3, depending on the width of my card and the width of the tape I'm using. Today I'm using 1-inch wide tape, which means that it has 1 inch of tape, or roughly 1 inch, and it has 3/4 inch band of adhesive underneath. You can see how easy this is to peel because the paper is wider than the adhesive. And I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to lay one of my pieces of A6 Gold Mary over the top of my card. I'm making sure that I get the fold line, the cardstock on the fold line really nice. And then I can just trim off the other edges. So it doesn't matter about being terribly precise with the other edges, but make sure you get that Mary clear down to your fold line. And then I just trim it off, and that's the easiest way to cover a card. So it's quick, it's easy. All right, next, I'm gonna move some of this stuff. Bryce is watching a YouTube video that got away from him over there.
I was trying to check out your Facebook video, make sure it was working.
Okay, we're going to want to use this little duck topper at the top. And then we have some matching cardstock here. Let's get this piece of cardstock. Now, one of the reasons why we love European A6 card is that 1 piece of this equals 6 of this, 4 of this A6 size. So that you could actually get, if you wanted to, we don't always want to, but you could actually get 4 toppers out of 1 sheet of Adorable Scoreable, which is what this cardstock is called. Can anybody tell me what's special about Adorable Scoreable? Anybody got an idea on that? What's different about Adorable Scoreable than other cardstocks?
Betty has a guess.
Okay, it doesn't crack. That is exactly right, my friend Betty Goswell. It does not crack when it's folded. So if you're using Adorable Scoreable as a card base, it doesn't crack or feather along the edges when you score it like other cardstock can. The reason it doesn't is they put a microfine film over the top. That's what's glossy there. They put a microfine film over the top of plastic film that actually takes your score line and protects the cardstock underneath from breaking, cracking. You can stamp on the, even though this is a glossy, you can stamp on it as long as you're using a hybrid ink pad or stays on. That's another special thing about Adorable Scoreable. And what else was I going to say? Oh, Alice mentioned Adorable Scoreable cuts well. It really does. It is a heavy cardstock, so I don't recommend generally that you use Adorable Scoreable for really highly detailed dies, but you certainly can cut basic shapes out of it. You can cut some frames out of it. You can cut card bases. In fact, some of the card bases you're going to get in our Animal Kingdom card sets are actually cut out of Adorable Scoreable. So it's heavyweight and made to do the job. For those of you, again, I've got a couple new people, so I'm hitting some of the basics here. When you want to put a piece of cardstock down on your and do your layers, there's nothing more frustrating than making something beautiful than it doesn't layer right. So we have a little trick. We call them tape flags. Put your tape down, fold them out to the side, find your position you want. If I don't like where I laid it down, I can pop it right back up because only a little bit of adhesive is exposed. I can find my position that I like to get my margins all the way around right where I want them. When I've got that, I'm going to hold it firmly in place and I'm going to pull that flag out. I'll do the same thing on the other side and we end up getting a perfectly centered card face. Okay, so we've got that. We've got our little duck. Do we have some foam squares in here? Where's my foam squares? Usually we have them in the kits. I didn't actually, oh, there they are. I was going to say I didn't specifically review to see if we had them in this kit, but we have them in most. Okay, so let's put some foam squares behind this little duck. It doesn't take a lot of them. I'll put about maybe 9 in total on here, just enough to hold it up and have it be supported. This kit was prepared before I decided we were going to start, before we got new stocks in, and I decided we were going to start putting other sizes in your kits. So this is still the little ones. And the little ones are fine. It's just I've gotten really spoiled with the bigger ones. Okay. I get all those off. I'll position our topper. It should just fit between the, on the top. I didn't tell you my dimensions. I cut this cardstock to 5 5/8 by by, oh, he didn't. Let's try that again. Yeah, I cut it 5 5/8 by 3 7/8. That makes the margins perfect to fit on the Mary board and give us a little bit of a border around there without the borders being too wide and taking over. Okay, I need my punch out sheet again, and on my punch out, this one actually says Easter wishes. Now, if you wanted to use this for every day, you could easily put a simple, I didn't include this in your kit because my sample did use Easter, but you could easily use a small sticker sheet to put a different kind of greeting on there. That one's a little big. So looks like most of the ones I have sitting here at my desk are bigger ones today. I usually have a better variety. I can use this one just for illustration though. I'm not sure I'd use black on here, but I could use it for illustration. If I didn't want this to be an Easter card at this point in the game, and there's really no reason why it has to be. Try that again. I could grab a sheet of stickers and peel stickers and put on anything I want. So it's being fussy with me today, or I'm being impatient. I'm not sure which. It might be my patience level. I think we have to explore that possibility. we wait for that possibility. One nice thing about peel stickers is that even though sometimes you can pull them out of shape when you pull them off the sheet. So I'm going to put my Happy Easter on here, but I just wanted to show you that there's plenty of room to choose a happy birthday or something else if you wanted it here. So, and I know lots of you, I'm not leaving that, it's messy, but there's lots and lots of choices of peel stickers in the store. In fact, we offer between our Find It Trading and our regular stickers about 5,000 or 6,000 sticker choices for you. So you can find something you like out of that, I'm pretty sure. Okay, so I'm going to go back to putting my Happy Easter on here. This is the only Easter card I made out of this batch. And did I already punch it out? I gotta clean up my workspace already. It's crazy.
Maybe a happy birthday card, yeah.
Maybe a happy birthday, since I can't find that. It's gonna show up here. I'm just gonna set it off to the side.
On the floor.
Probably on me, likely. Just turn the heater up, or the AC up just a tiny bit. I have this heavy shirt on. Oh, here it is. See, as soon as I gave up looking for it, it was right there. I knew it would be. All right, let's put this Easter, Happy Easter, if you decide to go that way, on with just a little foam square behind it. And I'm going to put that up. There's lots of different places I could put it, but I'm going to put it right here at the base of those flowers. Card one is done. Okay, so one down. Let's do another. Man, I'm a disaster. Look what I did. I set my card stuck right on my bow this dry. Okay, well, that looks like a good one to do. Let's do that one next, since I've already got sticky on the back of it. I'm going to grab my DL card. A DL is just another way, just another name for a 4x8 card. Now, DLs vary a little bit from company to company. Sometimes they'll be exactly 4x8. Other times they will be 4x8 1/4 or even 4x8 1/2. Sometimes they vary just a little bit in width, but any way we go at it, we can work with that size. A lot of times I like to use the DL cards for some of these side borders. Now this one doesn't have a lot going on top, but on this one I chose to use the ribbon pieces that they gave us to come down because I had those cute borders and I thought they needed to be used. So I'm going to start here though by covering my 4x8 with my adorable scoreable, or excuse me, with my finger lift tape. It's called finger lift tape because of your ability to just reach under there and grab the paper because it doesn't have adhesive clear to the edges. Now watch for things like this where I tore my tape at the edge. It has a little sticking up, and that's tacky. We don't want that. Tacky. No pun intended, but it fit. So I just, when I see that, I just roll the tape back on itself. Okay. And again, there, you don't have to hold your breath when you put this down. If it doesn't go down exactly, as long as your back margin is okay, as long as the fold line is okay, then you can trim off anything else that maybe shows a little bit of white. This one went on pretty well. It doesn't need any trimming, but you can do that. Let's trim this off now. My card, it always is good before you start cutting paper to measure your card. So my card base in this case is just a little under 4 inches, just a tiny bit under, about 3 15/16. So it's just a little bit under. That means that I'm going to cut this, I'm going to trim this piece maybe a little more than normal. Usually if it's going on a 4-inch card, I would say cut it to 3 3/4. But because it's just a little under, I'm going to cut it just a tad more to get to my 1/4 inch. If you wonder at all, make 2 cuts. Don't cut it too small to start with. So I am liking those margins. I think that looks pretty good for my width. And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to trim about a 1/4 inch off the top. So my card is, my adorable scoreable that I'm cutting off is 8 1/4 inches. So I'm going to cut this to 8 to start with. Then I'm going to test it with my card and see if I like that. And it happens that that is just right. See there? So I am ready to attach this. Do I have any bows or anything on there? No, I don't. This is the card that we're making. So I'm going to punch out these 2 borders. They actually kind of look like ribbons. And this, I'm going to also take this little duck heart because I thought that was really cute. I'm going to take that and I'm going to put some tape flags on the back. Yeah, you guys are quiet on the chat front tonight. What's everybody up to? Is it still stormy where you are? I heard last night everybody had storms last night. Is it still stormy or is it settling down a little? Oh, Oh yeah, that's fine. Okay, I've put my 2 tape lines on. I'm going to bring these out to the side, just exposing about an inch of my adhesive. Just fold it, bring them out to the side, and that gives me a chance to work with this without being committed to putting it in a particular place. So put it where you think you're going to like it. And then if you decide you need to lift it and recheck, you can do that. As it turns out, that's right about where I want it. So I'm going to hold this firmly with one hand and pull my tape flags out with the other. I've had people come to my classes and they say this tape flag technique was worth the cost of admission. So Alice, you had a few showers today, but no storms tonight. That's good. Hot and humid. Ooh, ooh, 100% humidity index. Yuck, that's terrible. That's terrible, terrible. Okay, the way I put these on here, I'm going to cut this one in half just so I can position them. The way I put these on here, I wanted to leave that little butterfly showing, so I might have done a different design, but I really liked that little butterfly up there, and I wanted to keep it. So I made these ribbons kind of come down at an angle. There's nothing measured about them, it's just what's pleasing to my eye. And I think that's going to be about right. I have some narrower tape here. I could glue them if I wanted to. I'm just going to do the narrower tape. And because they're not measured, I can just kind of clip them and put them where I want. If you want a measure for it, let me give you one just in case, because some of you are nervous doing that. This is 1 7/8 long. And I'm going to tape that or glue it, one or the other, right there. And I want this one to be right about here. Sure, I like the way that looks. It's not too long and covering up my butterfly. That looks pretty good. So this one's going to be about 3 1/8. It's a little uneven on the ends, so I'm going to trim that off so it's straight. And I want this one to be about here. See how that looks. That looks pretty good. Okay, this one's going to be right at 4 inches. Once again, I got my scissor line a little unstraight. Let's go ahead and glue these. I could use my narrower tape on them, but some of these little pieces is just easier to glue them. I'm using my fine line glue bottle. Lots of you ask initially what's in it. My favorite glue is Cosmic Shimmer. It is a nice medium body glue that works well with my glue bottle. It dries clear, it dries pretty fast, and it's got good holding power. My 2 on. And I'll put my 1 in the middle. It's cooler today than it's been. A little overcast today, but nice. We've had some little sprinkles here and there in the last couple days. Oregon really, really, really needs the rain. I know across the country, lots of places need rain right now, huh? Okay, I'm going to put this on a foam square. And raise that up. I didn't in my sample piece, but I think it could have used it. I'm just going to put this little chick right here, kind of at the top of the... That's 2. Okay, 2 cards done. Let's do next our little rabbit that has the bow drying. You're going to have a couple, I think we don't use these. You're going to have a couple nice pieces of cardstock left. Save this one for sure, because this is big enough for an A6 card. And you could certainly use one of your leftover toppers or something. Put one of the little toppers on, make a bookmark or something out of that one if you wanted to. Okay, let's find our next one. Next one, I want the other topper sheet. I want the little rabbit. Now this rabbit has 3 parts to the frame. So if we wanted to, this would be a really good topper to make a shaker card out of, as we know. But what's everybody saying, huh?
Summer has arrived in Phoenix, 106 to 118 for the next week and a half.
Oh my gosh, 118.
Rain badly.
Ah!
We've got a couple of bad wildfires going on in the eastern part of the state. Brenda said it was a cute card.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Talked about flash flood warnings here this evening.
Ugh. I'm going to see what all we're making out of this. I think it's always good before you start cutting too, to look and see what you're going to be using that cardstock for. In this case, these are the 2 cards we're taking out of this. And this is going to be just fine. It kind of butts right up against each other, but remember that this one has margins around it. So we should be fine to go ahead and cut this to the length of our European A6 and still have a 6-inch panel left for our other card, or just under 6 inches. I just lost my TV. Here it is. It's back. Okay, so the length of my European A6 is 5 7/8. So I'm going to cut this to 5 7/8. Then I'm going to cut it to 4 1/8. That is the size of my European A6 card. This time, we are not going to put it on mirror board. We're going to put it straight down to the card. And as you can see, it's a really good, nice fit. Now, even though it's a really tight fit on this one, I am not going to hold my breath putting this on. I'm going to make sure that my back along my fold line is right even. And then I will trim off anything else I have to trim off to make it even. So you think the desert's going to change, but it never does, Brenda. You're funny. You know, it's funny. Different areas of the country all have our own worries about things. I mean, I think about you guys on 118 degrees, and I think I couldn't possibly live with 118 degrees. I'd just die. It just wouldn't work for me at all. And yet, I have no compunction about living here in the land of rain. Where it rains all winter, you know, just months on end, it rains. We might get a clear day here or there, but it's, if you want to know the forecast from middle of October through all the way into the 1st of May, it's going to be rain. That's what we live with. Some people can't imagine that we can do that. And I think, oh, I couldn't possibly live in the land of hurricanes, but I do live in the land of volcanoes and earthquakes. So, you know, we all have our own things, don't we? Whether it's flooding or whether it's hurricanes or whether it's tornadoes or cicadas. Okay, there we go. It happened to go on just perfect this time. It doesn't always. You guys who watch me regularly know you see me trimming up my cards. And you don't need to feel like a failure if you have to trim it up. That's just comes with the territory. You know, you don't stress out when you're making cards. You have fun. You need to just relax into it and enjoy the process. Don't stress out about getting every little thing just perfect. Enjoy the process. Sunny and hot. Yeah, I think you're pretty safe there in Arizona. Sunny and hot. Our forecast is a little more difficult in the summertime. Some days will be sunny and hot, and then out of nowhere we'll get a rain day. We're always kind of glad for the rain days to cool it off and then start back up again in the summer. We actually do have some pretty weather in the summertime. Don't let a rain keep you from visiting Oregon. Oregon is beautiful, especially around, well, every part of the state is pretty in its own way, but our part of the state is the prettiest, I think. We live near the, well, about what, honey, 40 minutes to the Columbia River Gorge? Probably 40 minutes to the absolutely beautiful and scenic Columbia River Gorge, where you can watch windsurfers and things out there flying across the river on their windsurf boards. And about an hour, depends on which beach you go to, but an hour and 15 minutes, an hour and a half to the beach, to the beautiful Oregon coastline. Now, it's not sandy beaches and volleyball games on the Oregon coastline, although there are some places that there's sandy beaches. There's also lots of rocks and cliffs and beautiful scenic spots. And we have so many rivers that come through the middle of Portland that some people call it Bridge City, because we have two main rivers going through the Willamette River and the Columbia River go right through Portland. So we got bridges everywhere. That was the scariest thing to me when I moved here, was learning to navigate the bridges. Oh my gosh, 4 trees came down on your house in one. That's amazing. Ooh, that's amazing, Betty. See, I think about that and I think, you guys saw what I did. I took the outer ring and I put it up on some foam squares. I put foam squares about every inch. Now I'm going to take my glue bottle and I'm going to put it right inside that ring. And I'm going to draw a little circle around with the edge of my glue bottle. And then I'm going to drop this ring from the center right down on that glue to hold that. I think tornadoes would be terrifying. The thing about those is you guys never know for sure when they're coming, and that's amazing. I think that would be scary. Of course, hurricanes would be pretty scary too. Those of you who live in hurricane territory kind of take those in stride, but I don't really want to live where there's hurricanes. we don't get those. Of course, we also used to say we didn't get tornadoes, and there's hardly a year now that we don't get a tornado somewhere. Don't you think that's true, honey? That we get a tornado, one tornado, usually a season now?
Probably.
We didn't get any. I mean, we just never got tornadoes, and now we get pretty much one tornado a season. One that came through a few years ago did a little bit of damage to a rental house that we have in Vancouver that's brick, and it shook the house enough to kind of crack the ceilings in there. It didn't crack up any of the brickwork, fortunately, but just the pressure changes kind of cracked the ceilings a little bit in there. But nothing serious, knock on wood. We haven't been exposed too much to tornadoes. Although one day I was driving to a distributor's back when we were buying stuff from hot off the press, and I noticed that it was getting really, really cloudy and dark as I drove down there to pick up an order. And when I got there, Paulette Jarvie from Hot Off the Press looked out and said, "Debbie, get in here. There's a tornado warning." And we had to stay in the inner part of the building away from the windows until the tornado passed. And when I went back, I found out that the tornado had passed through right where I was stopped at the light just 20 minutes before. Right where I had stopped at the light, there's a bunch of greenhouses and stuff that all came down and were all torn up in the tornado. It passed right over where I was sitting just 20 minutes before and did a fair amount of damage to that farm. But okay, so I took my bow with my best glue ever, and I kind of put it in an angle. I like it there. I think it's pretty, but I am going to trim this tail up a little bit because I think it's covering too much of my bluebell there, and I like those bluebells hanging down. So I'm going to trim this tail back a bit. Just put a new whale tail on it further up. Looks like I need to use my scissor sharpener there. That was a little tougher than it should have been. So that means I got to trim up my other tail a little bit too. And we'll do that. A lot of times I do them after I put them on the card because I just want to see where the tails are going to fall. This, I'm going to grab my scissor sharpener here since I know that I have several bows left to do. And these are really easy to use. You just hold this Fiskars scissor sharpener in your hand, just like this. They say 2 or 3 swipes. I found 4 or 5 to be my number. And just like that, my scissors will be sharp enough now to handle the other bows I want to do. Once I've got this part done, I'm going to take this little tag and I'm going to put some tape or glue on it. I'm going to slide it right up under there as if the tag is attached. It's not. We do it the easy way, but I'm going to put just a little tape on there and slide it right up under. I'll bet your cat is terrified of those tornado sirens. Do we get typhoons and nor'easters? We don't get nor'easters at all out here in Oregon. Typhoons, we got once in my lifetime. We had what we call the Columbus Day storm, and that would have been on the East Coast, that would have been called a hurricane. We had one storm in that magnitude in my lifetime, and there's still trees down and stuff in the forest just rotting from that, and that happened in the early 60s. I still remember it, but it happened in the early 60s. Okay, this card's finished. Isn't it cute? Oh, so cute. I love that little bunny. In case you're wondering what our tag says, it says hopping by to say hi. So it's just a nice all occasion card. Since we've got this one out, let's do this. And after this one, I think we'll do our rocker card just to make sure that we go through covering that card while I have you on while we're together. So I'm going to find my 6x6 card blank here. should be right there. I have a 6x6 piece of Mary board I'm going to cover my card with. Now you'll notice when they say 6x6s in European A6, they tend to cut these Mary boards just slightly larger to allow you room to maneuver things around. That scissor sharpener, Betty, is a really, really good investment because where we're cutting paper all the time, we're dulling up our scissors. And when we can resharpen those as we go, I can actually cut paper and paper and paper and then cut ribbon with my same scissors by keeping a sharp edge on them. One thing that I would recommend, though, is my experience has been cheap scissors sharpen up better with the Fiskars than expensive scissors. These are Scotch scissors. I think in our store they're $5 or $6. I bought a value pack of these and I think they were about $5 a pair. You don't need expensive scissors, you just need sharp scissors. So it's a little bit of an investment. It's about 17 something for the one we have now is white because that's all they make. They don't make this one anymore, but it's the same concept. They just made it 2 inches taller and $3 or $4 more because they sold well. But it's a little bit of an investment, but you will not regret it because then you can have cheap scissors and maker shears and stuff. It will just dull them up to where they're useless. And then you'll have to have those professionally ground to bring them back. So don't ever use your good scissors. Use cheap scissors. And if you need cheap scissors, I've got some in the store. Like I said, $5, $6. And you won't regret having, I use these all the time. There's my scissors supply. I have these. I love these for my detail scissors, my cutter bees. Love my cutter bees for my really close detail work. These are super sharp. I have found these do not sharpen up as well on my scissor sharpener. Why? Because they're better quality blades. The cheap blades sharpen up really well with a scissor sharpener. The hardened blades don't sharpen as well. So once in a while I have to replace. I don't even know which one I just sharpened now because they all look the same. Once in a while I have to replace my cutter bees, but I don't replace these. I just keep sharpening them. Eventually they'll get ground down to, I guess, where I'll have to do it, but I've been using these for several years and I haven't had to replace them yet, so don't expect to have to. Okay, we're going to fit this little bunny and we're going to use it borders and all because I thought those borders were really particularly cute. I want these borders to be about 1/4 of an inch, so I'm going to cut this. First, I'm going to measure my 6x6 and make sure it's true 6x6. That is just slightly under 6 by very slightly under 6. So I'm going to go 5 3/4 by 5 3/4 as my beginning measures on these. So there's my 5 3/4. And I'm going to do 5 3/4 again. And let's see how that looks. And that is a really nice match. That's a really nice match. I just slid it before I showed you, but it's a nice match. Okay, let's put some tape flags on it to put it down. Why tape instead of glue on mirror board? Different glues may behave in different ways. I have found that while I love my Cosmic Shimmer glue, Cosmic Shimmer is not the best glue for holding my paper to mirror board. The mirror board doesn't have any, it's completely smooth. And because it's completely smooth, the glue dries hard against it and it doesn't, it just doesn't have the holding power. It just kind of slips loose over time. And a few new friends. Do we have a few new friends that we don't? I can't quite read your comment, Mary. Bryce walked out to help Lauren load the packages in the mirror. So the packages into the car to go to the post office, and he'll be right back. When he does, be able to I'll be able to answer. It's quite possible that we have new friends on Facebook that aren't signed in. And then we had one new friend on Facebook that was signed in. So if you slide up your chat, you'll be able to see her name again. She did sign in with a Facebook greeting. And then I know that I have one of the reasons I'm going in a little bit more detail is I know that I have a couple more. Whoa, 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 whoa. Caught myself that time. I almost put that down. Fortunately, I had tape flags so I could remove it. What was I doing wrong? I didn't put my ribbon around. So let's stop. I do think we've got some newer customers and friends who are watching on YouTube that may not have been able to sign in yet. So I do know we've got some new folks out there. And sometimes people just don't feel comfortable initially chatting too. Sometimes they want to kind of lurk in the wings and watch and see what happens. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. And then over time, they'll sign in. Aha, it moved up. Okay. Yes, I think Sherry signed on from Facebook today. Okay, this time we're going to wrap our ribbon around. Oh, did Dad take it and you're in charge of me?
Less than a half hour.
Oh, okay, so he's taking it to the post office and then you'll abandon me to go take your test?
Yes, I'll call
Say
her.
hi, Lauren.
Hello.
Lauren's here. She's going to man the screen while Bryce runs to the post office. Okay, so I want you to leave about this much room in your ribbon when you tie this bow. And we're going to tie a 515 again. So I walked through the steps. If you need to review, you can always back up your tape later and catch the how-to. I'm just going to tie this somewhat time efficiently so we can keep moving through. But my numbers are 5 and then 1, which means the first large tine, and then 5 again. Once you've done that, you go down through the hole, shimmy all that ribbon up onto the comb, bring this from the back because you've put it through the hole, bring it up from the back, and tie it in a half knot. It looks fancy, schmancy, and it's really, really pretty, but it's not hard to tie. Don't tell anybody. It'll be our secret. Has Grandpa called to check on Teddy? You know, we called. Tim, Paula's husband, had a birthday this week, so we called to wish Tim a happy birthday, and Grandpa was on the phone, and he talked a little bit to us and a lot to Ted. He was more interested in Teddy and what was happening with Teddy than what was happening with the rest of us. That's okay. We love that he loves Teddy, and we love that he feels at home here. Okay, we'll pull that off our bow maker. We have this pretty triple bow. It's all ready to go. Now I'm going to straighten my ends out. And I'm going to use my narrower Hunkydory tape this time. And I'm going to run a tape line right on the back of my ribbon. Now, why this time am I using tape instead of the best glue ever? Because the tape will help hold it in place while I'm working with it, and it's actually going to be secured from the back. So, oh, Teddy and Grandpa are such good friends. I got up yesterday morning, and walked into the living room, and Teddy was laying there looking mournfully out at the driveway, waiting for his grandpa. I'm sure that's what he was doing. Bryce was downstairs, and Ted was just watching the driveway to see if his grandpa was coming. Okay, so I kind of messed up a little bit here. See how my tape paper is above? Well, that's not all going to be the glue. You know, the tape is a quarter of an inch down. So for the most part, most of my sticky should be behind the ribbon. But what I am going to do is be careful when I take this off to look at my ribbon and fold any tape that's still hanging over the edge back on itself so I don't have any sticky outside of my ribbon. Now see, because it's down a quarter of an inch, there's no tape showing on this piece. Let's see if there is on this other. There might be, because I got pretty high there in one spot. Yeah, I have a little bit of tape up over the edge. So I'm going to take a second here before I proceed, and I'm just going to take my thumb and I'm going to roll that tape back on itself so all the stickies on the back of that ribbon. It's really worth it to take the moment, guys, to do those little detail things, because that's what makes the difference in having your card look really, really professional. So we've got that. I'm going to position my bow almost to the edge here, and about, I'm going to say 5/8, a half to 5/8 inch down. I'm just going to wrap my tape around the back of my card. That's what's going to secure it. I wish you could see Teddy right now. He came over, jumped up in Lauren's lap, and he has the sleepiest look on his face. He just kind of draped over her arm like a little beanie baby dog. He's adorable when he does that. Of course, I think he's adorable when he does about anything. Okay, here we go. And I wrapped it around the back. Now I can go ahead and put it on my card. I like to do that where I can to secure it on the back, because that bow, you know, I don't have to wait for the glue to dry, which is always nice. I think it adds an extra decorative element to my card, and it really doesn't take much to do it, so why not? Okay, I got my card centered the way I want it, so I'm going to pull my tape flags out. You don't need that third line of tape that I sometimes put when I'm covering my card, because if you had a third line of tape, you wouldn't have any way to get it out of the middle. So it would just be sitting at the back. So we got a nice border on that. Okay. Okay, next we're going to put on our tag, and I'm doing the same thing here with the tag that I did last time. I'm going to find the little one. This one says "Happy Birthday, Beautiful" on it. And I'm going to, I could put a little foam behind it if I wanted to, but most of the time I'll just put a little tape on it and just slide it up under that bow. A little tape or a little glue, doesn't matter. Just slide it up under that bow a little bit to look like it's hooked on. You know, Roberta wasn't here yesterday either, so she's kind of making me worry. I'm not sure where Roberta is. So I might have to call her, make sure she's okay, because it's unusual to be missing Roberta 2 times in a row. Maybe she'll tune in before we get done, because sometimes she comes in late. So hopefully she will. Okay, now you have in your kit your little rhinestone packet. We're going to use 5 of the rhinestones here. We're going to use 5 the littler ones. We have some that are way smaller than these, but we're going to use 5 little ones here. Save the 3 bigger ones for another card. If I could pick it up, that would help. It's flat on the back. It doesn't want to pick up. There we go. And with these, I did my row of 3. Just put 3 dots down. And then I'm going to do 3 dots the other way, reusing that corner one. So I'm going to put in 1, 2, 3. And then we come up the other way. I was just notified that my book is in the mail, Betty. It's in the mailbox. So I got to go get it later and start reading your book. I'm excited to check that out. It sounds interesting. Okay, there we go. There's our finished card. Isn't that cute? So simple, but so cute. Okay, like I said, I think we need to switch gears here and work on our, I think we need to work on our rocker card next. For our rocker card, we'll get our sample out. We're going to need our pink cardstock. You have just regular cardstock in kind of a pink corally sort of color. We're going to need that. We're going to need our, there's nothing fancy about this cardstock. It's just lightweight US cardstock out of my stash. We're going to need our rocker card base. We are also going to need some toppers. So let's get this sheet. This is our first raccoon card. Love the raccoon. He's so cute. The expression on the raccoon is just precious. He's really, really cute. This raccoon would make a really, really fun shaker card. It'd be really fun shaker card. Wouldn't it be fun to put some little petals and pink and purple in there? I didn't do it this time. I did a little different design this time, but bear in mind you could, and a shaker card's fun on a rocker card too. You can do both. Okay, so I'm going to take this little tag that's right under that circle, and this one says, from me to you. And then I have this raccoon face, and you might think, well, that's really big. I'll show you what I'm going to do with that. And then I also wanted to balance it out, and so I took You're So Lovely. And I also used a piece of this border. We're going to use lots of materials on this rocker card. But the first thing we're going to do is cover it in this corally colored, soft coral colored cardstock. So let's take a look at what we're doing here. Move that out of the way and keep these pieces so hopefully I can find them. There's no guarantee of that because after all, it is me. And I am something of a klutz. And Lauren's over there shaking her head in agreement. She's not supposed to agree with her mother when she says these things, but the first time she's agreed with me in a week, I think. Let's talk about folding this card. It looks a little confusing. Look at the score lines here. Can you see the score lines? Looks a little confusing, but it's not that bad. What we're going to do is what I call pre-scoring. In other words, we're going to give a light fold to things before we actually crease anything, because we don't want to get creases or bends in the part we want to be flat. So, hello, Mary G. Welcome. Okay, the very first fold, again at the bottom here, is going to be a mountain fold. In other words, it's folding out. The next one is going to be folding down. And this one is going to be another mountain fold. Okay, so all I'm doing is just kind of bending it lightly there to begin with. This one goes down, then it goes in, then it goes down again. Okay, can you see where we're going? Now that we have pre-scored those, we can kind of pre-score this piece. And you can begin to see the card take shape. Now that we've done the pre-scoring, we can safely just fold it. And everything will go where it's supposed to go without misfolding anything. Take your bone folder, or in my case, my fingernail, because I have 50 bone folders, and I do believe in them, but I never have one where I am. Fingernails were made first, so I'm taking my fingernail and scoring that in. Debbie, Mary, Allison, Debbie, Mary. Are you asking? Oh, Mary, were you not feeling good? Mary, doing well. Oh, better day than yesterday. Okay, I see what you're saying. You're asking Mary. Okay. All right. We are going to put down some tape on here. And what I'm going to do is first we are going to cover the face of this card. And the face is this little piece here and this piece up here. So you just want to get plenty of tape on there. There's no special way you have to do it. Just get plenty of tape on there. I'll probably put a couple rows at the top. Then I'm going to use my narrower tape and I'm going to come in and I'm going to put a row across here. I actually like having multiple sizes of tape for that reason, because I can kind of get in different spaces. And I'm going to put another little bit here. It just has to have plenty of hold here. I don't want any ruffly edges. Okay, so I kind of just covered my face with some tape. Okay, now I'm going to peel that tape back and I'm going to make sure any of the sticky stuff is folded back on itself. So that's my next job. So I have a little sticky folding over the edge. I'm just going to take my finger and roll it back on itself. Anything that's hanging over the edge has to get rolled back on itself. That'll give you those nice crisp edges and no sticky gummy stuff hanging over. All right. I can tell you guys are liking the Animal Kingdom. An immediate response to the Animal Kingdom kits. I like the Animal Kingdom cards too. I haven't made any more since yesterday because, as I explained, I went to work on the computer right after class and finished at 6 this morning. So I haven't made any new progress on the kits, but we have some wonderful ones that will be coming up. I'm still deciding how many cards we're going to do at a time. If we just do one card kit per class, we're going to go on for a while. But if we do more than one card kit in a class, especially since I'm kind of dressing these cards up, the classes are going to be longer. I know I'll only do one on Thursday night because I promised you I'd keep the Thursday night class short. What do you guys want? Do you want 2 on Saturdays? Or do you, so we finish faster? Or do you just want to go along with our one at a time until we finish the class? I'm kind of good either way. I just need you guys to guide me on what you would like. I'm going to lay my cardstock right over the top, and your cardstock is wide enough to cover that panel. So I just laid it right over the top. I'm going to take my scissors. I'm going to come straight across in the back. Straight across, like so. I'm going to grab my cutter bees because we're going to need to follow the scallops here to do this front piece. So I'm going to come in with my cutter bee scissors and I'm going to just follow the scallop from the back of the card to get this nice scallopy piece in the front. It's not difficult cutting because they're really big scallops. Can you, yeah, one at a time so I can spread my purchases out a bit. That was good. That's a good vote. Any other opinions? I think that's smart, Betty. If other people have an opinion, I'm real open to it. I didn't put dates on the classes yet in the newsletter, and that's why I didn't, because I wanted to think about how many classes to do and what would be the best way to go at it. Okay, once you have done your scallops across, now we're going to take our scissors, and I'm looking for the way to show you. I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to clip right along this fold right here on the inside. I'm going to clip that little bit right there. I'm going to just butt my scissors right up against the side of that, and I'm going to clip right along that.
Say hi to Stephanie.
Hi, Stephanie. Welcome, friend. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm just going to come in and I'm going to clip that up to the card base. So I'm clipping here and then I'm clipping here. Now I'm going to, Teddy's telling us the doorbell rang. Now we're going to trim down. And I'm going to follow that right along the edge. And I'm going to cut this piece out. Okay. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to take my scissors. I can watch it from the other side of the card. And I'm going to reach in with my scissors and I'm just clipping that little piece out, which since we already scored it across, it's pretty easy to do. Now the face of our card has been covered and we're going to leave that for just a minute and now we're going to work on our topper piece. I want to do this next because it's the next biggest piece that we have to cover. So we're going to take this piece right here. I'm going to pop it apart in 3 layers. This is one of the things I just love about Hunkydory. I love these multi-part frames. I love the versatility they give you. I'm going to glue this frame onto the cardstock. Doesn't take an awful lot. I ran a kind of little squiggly line around. And I'm going to glue that right into the corner so I don't have to waste any of my cardstock, but I can get it in there. And I'm going to take this next ring and I'm going to glue this to the bottom. You see it there? Right to the bottom of that ring. So it kind of has a crescent moon shape left open. Okay, now we're gonna put a little ring of glue on there, hold that in place, and I'm gonna glue that right to the bottom, leave that little crescent, try and make sure it's somewhat straight side to side. I'm gonna put some foam squares, tape, whatever your foam choice is. I'm going to put some foam squares on here, set up that center piece, give it a little extra dimension. I'm going to use about 6 of these little ones, 7 with one in the middle. I'm going to peel off the backing paper. And now I'm going to also put this one at the bottom and create another little crescent moon above him, letting that orange cardstock or that light coral cardstock show through. Now I'm just going to take my scissors and I'm going to trim around the outside. And I've just created a really fun topper piece that's in the same colors as my background. And I'm coming in close to my edge, trying not to cut off my foiling. But I'm just following it right along. Cut out my round topper piece we just created. You notice when I'm cutting, I move the paper, not the scissors. It's an important concept. And if you are moving the scissors around, you're not going to get the same quality of cut. So it's a simple but really effective tip. So, all right, next, we're going to cover these 2 back pieces. Now that we have finished this one, because we knew it was going to take more room, now we can Brittany just came in. Say hi to Brittany.
Hello.
Brittany says hi. We're going to, I can tape this or I can glue it. It doesn't really matter. I'll probably tape it though, because I won't get, this is cheap cardstock, and I won't get any ripples on the cheap cardstock with tape, which I could conceivably get with glue. Put a couple pieces of my tape down in there, cover that space pretty well. Then I'm going to take my cardstock, fit it in there, and trim around it again. They say hi. All right. Now I'm going to set my corner of my cardstock. I like using the corner because the bottom's already done and the side will be even that way. So I just put my corner down in there, and now I'm going to come in with my little scissors. Actually, I think I use my caterpillars, my cutter bees, cutter scissors. I use my cutter scissors. And first I'm just going to whack off this big piece to make it easier to get to. And now I'm just going to trim around my scallops again. Again, don't let the fact that it's scallops bother you. They're really big, like 1/2-inch scallops on this card, so it's not that difficult to trim around these. Do want to make sure when you cut around these that you're not catching your first layer in front though. And trim off that extra. And come in here, trim that right across. And I've got my back panel covered. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Put a little tape down. Do we have comments below?
No.
Mary? Okay. Little piece there. One thing you can do when you're doing this is kind of fold this out a little bit again. That can be an easier way to get out things. I'm going to make sure I don't have tape hanging over. Where there's tape, I fold it over on itself. Get this last little piece of tape off of here. Yeah, Brittany's just behind the scenes cracking the whip on me. I'm going to use that corner piece again just because I love taking advantage of those already cut edges. I'm going to slide that right down in there so I get it nice and straight. I'm going to kind of whack this off a little bit so that I can see what I'm doing. I'm going to come in with my cutter bees and I'm going to trim this up. First I'll take, it's easier on this one to take the straight edge off first just because I'm right-handed and it's the angle I'm coming in. See a little piece to trim there, just a little unfinished business there on that edge. Now I'm going to come in and I'm going to trim around these scallops one more time. This is the last piece we have to cut. There we go. All right. And I have just a little bit there that still looked rough from the front. I'm rounding that out a little bit. There we go. My card's all cut, covered. Looks good. All right. Next up, we'll grab that topper and I'm just going to figure out where I want it. Now I'm going to put my little label on first because that will help me determine how much space, where I position the other. And I'm going to put my little from me to you right in the center. Okay. Now I have this border piece here. How's my time doing, hon? It's 5:30. We're doing it right. Okay. Now I can put this border on this entire piece, which is absolutely fine because I have it available to use. If I had another thought in mind for the border, I really only need to cut a couple inches to have that. Let's just do that for the sake of illustration. You only have to cover what actually shows, right? So what's actually going to show is small pieces at either end. So I can put these borders on. Then I'm going to need to trim it along my scallop. I want it to come out to the edge. Probably the easiest way to trim this is kind of unfold it. Oops. It's still slippery with glue it. And just let that tack there for a second. Put the other one on, then come back and cut that. You only have to cover what shows. Then I'll put my glue on. Put my little piece in place. Let that get tacky there. I'm going to fold this out a little bit. And I'm going to take one little cutter piece and cut that rounded to match that scallop. Make sure this one's where it's supposed to be still. And I'm going to take my cutaries and just round out that scallop again. So I got my two little pieces there, and I still have my nice long border that way. And now I'm going to figure out my position for this. And I'm going to, I almost undercut those borders. They're going to be fine, but allow yourself plenty of room to go underneath. I didn't allow quite as much as I should have when I was illustrating there, but it's going to be fine. I'm going to put some glue around here, up here on this thing. And I'm going to position my topper. Centering it right above that from me to you. And that's looking cute already. We could stop there if we wanted to. But we did have some little button pieces that were available. And I really liked this, and I wasn't using it anywhere. So I'll tell you what I did. I thought it was too big to have this one on this side. Come on, pick up. I can't seem to pick up that piece of paper with no nails. Okay. This one says, you are so lovely. I like that one. For over here, but it was just too big on one side. So what I did is I have an interior gold ring and an outside ring. I cut the outside ring off. And I made this piece smaller. It still has that nice foiling around the outside, so I could get away with it. It's a pretty easy cut because it's just round. Now it's a little button, and it will look really cute. And it's not so much bigger than the other one. So I'm going to add these. I wish I could cut both. Yes, being ambidextrous would be lovely when you're making rocker cards, wouldn't it? It would be great to be ambidextrous. I thought my card was uneven there for a second. I thought, oops, am I going to have to do a repair? If you get more weight to one side than the other, sometimes it can want to kind of lean. I think this one's fine. It was just sitting up against my glue bottle. Okay, put a few little foam squares under it, because why not? You can put foam squares or you can glue them directly, whatever you fancy. And I'm going to put my little, you're so lovely, and I'm actually going to raise that above the edge just a little bit to kind of match the big round. Just to kind of reinforce that scallopy kind of feel, just a little decorative touch there. And I'm going to, oops, why did I just do that? I put the other one on foam squares. Well, I just glued this one, so I'm going to try and give him about the same amount of raise that the others have, that the other one has. Nobody will ever notice I foam squared one side, not the other. There we go. There's our absolutely adorable little raccoon. Isn't he cute? Okay, so raccoon card's done. I think we have time for one or two more.
We have time for a teddy cam.
What's that?
Teddy cam.
Yeah, we have time for a teddy cam. Let's do teddy cam next. Let's slide some of my garbage out of the way so don't end up with it all over the floor. Teddy gonna go on camera. Teddy, oh boy. He's been sleeping, so he's got sleepy eyes. He got sleepy eyes, sleepy poodle eyes. Hi. Hi, baby boy. Can you sit down? Can you sit down? What a good boy. He said, it's just so sleepy, guys. Hi. He said, hi, everybody. Did you guys know my grandpa's gone? I'm kind of a sad dog when my grandpa's gone. But my grandpa will be back. Yes. There he is. Look at those sleepy eyes. His sleepy eyes. Said if you rub my ears, I'll probably just drop off to sleep. I'll probably just drop off to sleep if you rub my ears. Scratch my chin. My little beanie baby. My little beanie baby. Yay. He said, I like to visit my friends, but I'm just so tired, guys. I'm just so tired. He'd been over there sleeping in his daddy's lap. He said, I'm just so tired. You look at this dog, you'd wonder if it's even the same dog that was harassing Fergus in the little video. It's the same dog. Bryce came out of the bedroom this morning, and Teddy was kind of being a little bit rough with his kitty, with his favorite kitty. No, it wasn't his favorite kitty, it was Taz. He was kind of being a little rough with Taz, and Taz doesn't have patience for him. She just thinks he's a menace. And she was kind of howling at him, and Bryce scolded Teddy and said, you leave that cat alone. And Teddy started running around and doing figure eights on the furniture. You ever seen a poodle do figure eights? We'll have to get some video and show you. It's hysterical. He does these little figure eights where he runs and pushes off the back of the sofa and jumps down and then runs to a chair and goes back and forth and back and forth. And Bryce said, I'm not playing with you. And about that time, Teddy came sailing past him and just roared right over the top of the sofa, landed in the kitchen, and kept running. And Teddy thought, yeah, you are playing with me. You just don't know it. I laughed, though, because Bryce was trying to scold him, and then he ended up laughing. Yes, Teddy's such a ham. Oh, my gosh, he's such a ham. Well, I don't know about you guys. I'm really kind of into continuing our raccoons because I love the raccoons. So let's do that. Let's see, we got time for maybe 2 more. I don't think there's anything difficult at all that I've done on these. Let's just keep going. Let's do, I did do an extra layer on this one, so let's do this one that I layered an extra time. I need a piece of mirror board. I need a European A6 card. We'll do both the raccoons, then we'll walk you through the lambs, because I think we'll be out of time by then. No. Nope, he was not speeded up at all, Mary. That is just Teddy. He's the funniest guy. I tell you. Okay, gonna cover our card as usual. Fergie's actually remarkably patient with him, and Fergie actually likes to play with him. He just gets annoyed when Teddy gets too rambunctious. How's Teddy still a puppy? I mean, he's 2 now, but he's still a puppy. Yes, his hair has grown very fast. In fact, Bryce was just saying I needed to get him in and get his hair cut before the heat came back, because he was miserable when it was hot outside. He started out the door and then kind of put the brakes on and just backed up. I'm not going out there. It's hot.
I think your purple paper matches your shirt.
Oh, yeah. You know me and my purple. This is the color purple that's actually my favorite, too. I mean, just violet purple. I love that. That's my fave. I like lavenders and other colors, but purple, rich, deep, royal kind of purple, violet, that's my favorite. Okay, so let's see. We're going to have to cut this cardstock this way. We're going to cut our regular layer. We're going to cut our next layer, our regular layer from our purple. Now our gold is 5 7/8 wide, so we're going to cut our purple paper to 5 5/8 wide. Then our card is 4 1/8, so we're going to make this 3 7/8. And theoretically, that should be a good match, and it is. It fits perfectly. So we'll put some tape on here. Alrighty. Use our tape flags again because we're on top of our mirror board. Yes, Teddy still loves Milo. Oh, he still loves Milo. In fact, Bryce says, let's go feed the goat. Teddy runs to the door and waits. And if Bryce goes down and feeds the goat without Teddy, he is in trouble. Is that true, Bryce?
True fact.
Yes, Teddy loves Milo. And Milo sniffs at him through the fence. And sometimes they chase along the fence line together. Milo likes the dog okay, as long as the dog isn't in the same space with him. He has decided that Teddy's just too rambunctious because you know what Teddy was doing with the cat running back and forth across him. He tries to do that with the goat too. That's not at all popular with the goat. Milo does not want Teddy jumping over his back, which is what Teddy wants to do. He wants to jump up on his back, over his back, pull on his tail, and say, come on, let's run. Milo does not get that message. He says, come here, dog, I'm going to stomp you.
Teddy says Molly goes psycho cat every night, running from one end of the house to the other.
That's so cute. Okay, so I know that I can get 4 card bases out of here. I'm going to use, am I going to use all 4 of them? Yeah. Kind of looks like it. Let's see. I'm going to cut this one in half. I'm going to cut it in true half, which will be 5 7/8 to start with. And then each half of that will be 4 1/8. So I've got my bigger piece. Now I'm going to trim this down to here. Why did I do it that way? Because I wanted to make sure all these cards get an equal measure of cardstock. I'm actually going to use this one this way, but I'm going to use this piece for this card. So, no, I guess I'm not. I'm going to have extras, it looks like, but that's okay. Anyway, so last time our layer was 3 7/8 for our purple. No, yeah, 3 7/8. So this one with the raccoon is going to be 5 5. Let's try it again. 3 5/8 inch tall. And it's going to be, we went from 5 7/8 to 5 5/8 on the purple. So it's going to be 5 3/8 on this layer. And if I did that right, this should be a good fit. And it is. There we go. So we got our extra purple in there. I can put this one down with glue because I'm not going on top of the mirror board. So that saves a little time. I'd like to get a video of Ted doing those figure 8s in the living room. He does it almost every night. But he's, oops, see what I did again, guys? I almost messed up, but I at least caught it before I did it. It's supposed to have a ribbon around it. So let's get this done. I might have to add some more glue or smooth that out. In fact, what I think I'm going to do, maybe I would do, if I knew where they went. Where'd my baby wipes go? Oh, here. Yeah, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Leave it. I was going to wipe it off with my baby wipes, but Debbie sends them to me. In other words, he's making me responsible for catching Daddy in the act of some of his fun shenanigans. There's worse jobs to have to do than to have to catch Teddy on video. Okay, we're going to tie 515 again. Actually, I think I tied this smaller. Let's try a 454. This one actually looks a little smaller. So I'm going to do 4. I'm going to go out to the 4th little peg. I'm going to come back and do a 5. That's not what I did. Let's try that again. 4 and 4. Now a 5. And a 5. And we'll do a 4 and a 4 again. The other thing I got to catch on video for you is I have to catch Teddy waking up his grandpa. Oh my gosh. He loves, loves, loves to wake up his grandpa. He thinks that is so much fun. So if grandpa's outside on the swing and just sitting there, Teddy will fuss until you let him out, and then he runs outside and he does everything in his power to wake up grandpa. He'll get up on his shoulders, he'll climb down, he'll lick his ears. He does everything he can do to wake up his grandpa because he thinks that's great fun. If Bob is in the house, he does the same thing, gets up on the furniture and gets in behind him, and he's just merciless. And Bob will kind of swat at him in his sleep, never seriously, but he'll kind of try and push him away in his sleep. And then pretty soon you'll see a grin come across his face, and he'll take that dog up and love him, which is what Teddy wants. Either that or he wants to go stroll outside. And he will convince Bob. Teddy has a bell on the door that he rings to go out when he has to go potty. And he has Bob convinced that that is his servant bell. And that when he rings it, Bob should respond and take him walking, which he wants to do several times a day because he's a nosy little guy and he needs to catch up on what the neighborhood's doing, because there might be somebody doing something Ted doesn't know about yet. I'm glad that he is such a nosy little dog, though, because we had some people come in and do some landscape work in the backyard, and we have one big gate here that's right by my shop window, so I can monitor that one, and I know when that opens and closes and who comes and goes. But there's also a side gate on the other side of our house that I don't see from where I am, and they left that gate open. And of course, Ted, being the little athlete that he is, it's about a 3-foot retaining wall out there inside that gate, 2.5
foot at some places.
Okay, but Bryce says it's a lot lower than I remembered it being. But anyway, there's a little retaining wall. He just has to jump up on that retaining wall, and freedom is his. And he went strolling the neighborhood the other day, and we didn't even know he was out of the yard. until one of the neighbors who sees him out strolling with Grandpa knew he came from this address and came up to the door and knocked and said, "Here's Teddy." And so we thanked her and she went on her way. And then I didn't realize the guys were coming back, and I hadn't said anything to the landscaper yet about the leaving the gate open, and I didn't realize he was out again. And a different neighbor came up and said, "I was pretty sure he belonged here because I'd seen your dad out walking him." So we were really lucky that our neighbors were aware of where our nosy dog belongs. Okay, there we go. We got one more we'll get done here. We have this little one that we're going to do on this card. And actually, I'm glad we saved some of that border piece a while ago because I forgot I even used it on this one. We're going to put that leftover border right here. This has a border on it, and it's pretty enough, but look how much prettier it is when we put this border piece right over that separation and get that extra gold in there. Yeah, we were really glad that our neighbors knew who Teddy was and where he belonged, because he was just out wandering, saying hi to everybody. And yeah, scary is right. That dog is well identified, though. I mean, heaven forbid he should manage to do it again. He's smart, though, and there probably will be a time when he does. He has a dog tag that says, "Hi, I'm Teddy, and I belong at this address, and here's my mom's phone number." He has chips from Safe Pet and the Humane Society. He has his rabies tag on. He has an "if lost, you can contact Banfield." He's got a whole wad of tags on his harness, and he wears a harness, so it's not like he can just slip his collar. He wears a harness, so he is well identified should someone find him. The question is, as cute as he is, yet there's never a total reassurance that the person who finds him would bring him back. So, moral to our story is, let's make sure the dog stays in the yard. The pieces are wandering across the table here, getting harder and harder to reach them. There we go. Okay, we're going to cover our card. Where's the one I'm using this time? That's the one I just did. There it is. Okay, I'm going to cover our card. We're going to apply this Miri. Thank you for the thumbs up, guys. This will be our last card, and then we'll just talk through the last two, take one more look at our upcoming classes. Saturday, we're going to have some fun. We're going to be back into our glitter and glaze technique. And I think that our new cards will turn out even better than my sample cards did. I like the samples a lot, but I do really like the glitter and glaze materials for use on the cards. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate the thumbs up. Like I've said so many times, I love it. It makes me happy. And it helps our business too, because it helps us get referrals from YouTube. So thank you very much for that. And we will clip this one. We're going to come across here and trim this off. That looks good. Okay, we're going to go this direction. So that's my long way. I'm going to make that 5 5/8. I'm going to make my narrow way 3 7/8. Should give us a pretty piece on here. And it does. That looks nice. So we'll put some tape flags on here, tape this down. No, we won't. We'll put our bow on it. Boy, I'm stubborn. You know, I just refuse to learn. Bryce made me measure out all the individual pieces of ribbon this time so that I wouldn't overshoot the ribbon quite so much. I think I overshot the I think I overshot the ribbon, honey.
I think we argued about that.
Well, we didn't argue seriously, but he's trying to get me to get more accurate in my ribbon measures because over the course of 30 kits, it can make a difference. But you guys are the beneficiary of my, oh, I think we need a little more because they might cut it differently than me, or you know what I mean. I always worry about you not having enough. Well, we had another full bow worth here. Okay. All right. Oh, Brenda was reminding me. Thank you, Brenda. I caught it just before I saw your message, but had I not, I would have appreciated that. Thank you very much. Okay. We're having long tails, not long tails, but longer tails than normal again, so we can wrap it around our card. Yeah, that's not a big, long piece, but it's enough to certainly tie a single and maybe a double. Probably not a 515, but okay, let's see. I'm going to put a piece of tape across the back of here, just like you've been seeing me do. Good, Mary R. This is a 454, Alice. I'm using the little tines on the red comb, or the same, and they'd be the same on the blue comb. And I'm using number 4, number 5, then back to number 4. The delay's not as long as it used to be. With this new camera, it loads a lot faster, or it seems to me that it does. Does it seem to you that it does, Bryce? That it loads quite a bit faster?
What loads faster?
At the video, we have less delay. And see in their comments?
There's still a slight delay, but maybe not as much.
Okay. Not quite as much of a delay.
When you ask the questions in there.
Yeah, that's true.
There's still a slight delay.
Well, I think some of the slight delay is everybody's waiting to see if somebody else will answer. I'm not sure, but I guess that might be.
Even when I listen to you on my phone.
Oh, yeah, there's a little lag.
You talk and then I get to hear it again.
Okay. All right. Okay. We're going to put this topper here. Now, I didn't have another sentiment. I'd used them all. So I am kind of sliding my raccoon right up to the bow.
Mary's reminding you promised her a picture and she'd like it in her next package.
Yeah, I will get that. I got to just run up to Walgreens and get one printed, but I will get that for you, Mary. Just got to run up to Walgreens. Okay. All right. Oops, I think I'll put this down on here before I do any more. I'm going to have to replace my tape roll. Can you imagine it? They're supposed to last forever, and it's going to run out on me soon. I will get you a good teddy picture. Okay. My tape flag's on there. Boy, we came awfully close to finishing 9 cards tonight, guys. We will have done 7 on a Thursday night in the allowable time without running over. That's pretty darn good. These are easy cards, so I admit it. They're super simple cards, but they're fun. I am glad to see you guys are kind of starting to feel confident changing up the card designs a little bit, though. That's exciting to me to hear that. I love that you get to a point you're ready to kind of do your own thing a little bit. That's fun. That shows progress and confidence, and I love that. I will never be offended by that. I will be happy with that. But you know what? If you like following the card designs and you just kind of like the no stress, no hassle, just have fun putting them together, that's okay too. Whatever makes you happy, guys. I have this tape strip here. It's the last strip on my sheet I'm going to use up. Well, maybe not quite use up, but almost use up. Oh, got to take a look at that, Eddie. That's fun. Got to take a look at your card on Facebook. And we still did have time for Teddy Cam. Good point, Brenda. Okay, put some foam squares under there. Let's see if we can get that reasonably straight. There we go. Last card of today. All right, we have made a lot of cards. We got 2 left. Now, let's take a look at what we still have. We made an A6 card using this corner. Whoops, this corner. You're going to cover your card in Gold Mary, of course. You're going to cut your back, or you're going to cut your cardstock to 5 and 5/8 inch wide by 3 7/8 inch tall. Add some foam tape. It's done. It's just a really simple little card, but so darn cute. So darn cute. All right, next one. We're going to use this leftover grass. Now, let me tell you a story on me. We packaged this to finish this card as an A6, and you certainly, absolutely can do that. After I finished this card, I really wished I had used a 5x7, because to me, this one looks just a little bit cramped. It would have been better had it had more space, and you certainly have enough cardstock here. So if you got a 5x7 card blank laying around and a piece of Mary that's large enough, think about converting this one to a 5x7, because I think it's cute now, but it would look even cuter as a 5x7 than it does as a European A6. Just a thought. Okay? And the way I did it, I covered my European A6. I cut my cardstock to the dimensions that we've been talking about, the 3 7/8 inch wide by 5 5/8 inch tall. Put some foam squares on here, put some foam squares on the back of this little heart. I mounted the heart on top, and I mounted to someone very special with love at the bottom of the lamb. And again, I think it's cute, but it'd be even cuter, I think, on a 5x7 card. So think about that. You can always retain the other pieces for later. So that's what you have left. 21 cards, 1 kit. That is the end of the Hunkydory Box Kit 7. Let's take a quick look at our cards for Saturday. our cards for Saturday are the race cars. I really think these are fun, and I think that these are just spectacular masculine cards or cards for anybody who loves racing and these classic European race cars. This kit, let's see. Yeah, this is the one that we put the sparkle and shine in. This kit costs a little bit more because it has full packets of the sparkle and shine. Remember, though, that sparkle and shine, you're going to have enough to do quite a few cards out of each kit. So don't let the little bit higher price on this one scare you. You got lots of wow here for a lot of cards. So don't let the little bit higher price tag influence you. I like the nail heads on these too. I love the brads on this one. This one just makes me happy, except they should be right side up. It doesn't matter. Some of you are going to get brads that are brown leather with the screw head. Some of you are going to get teal with the screw head. You can see any one of those three is going to look spectacular on here. I really, really like these cards. I think they're a lot of fun. And the other thing that just really sets these cards off is that oxidized metal Miri board. It's just a lot of fun for these. Now, I think we'll get a little bit smoother finish on ours using the sparkle and shine technique. And then you can choose with yours, do you or don't you want the glitter in it? But I'll tell you, I think this looks fabulous, even for a guy. And, you know, the guys in my life say the glitter's just fine. Hi, Diane. We're just doing show and tell. This is Saturday. So we've got the race car set coming up on Saturday with our fun brads and stuff. Love that with the oxidized metal and the screw brads. Those are fun. These are now on the website and ready for, these kits are now ready for purchase. I made them both with and without the toppers because you asked for it. So here's the first, they call it deer. This is actually an elk. We have these right here. I've seen lots and lots of elk in my lifetime. They're beautiful creatures. I've had one walk. I was walking with some friends one day on a trail, and one walked about, a whole herd of them actually crossed in front of us, about 10 or 12 feet ahead of us. The does started crossing, or what are they called? They're not does. They're with elk. Are they does? No. Cows. There we go. Cows. The cow elk started going across. 6, 7, 8 of them went across, and we never did see the bull elk with the big rack of horns, but we could see the brush parting. So we knew there was a big bull elk somewhere. He waited until we passed to cross, evidently. But there's the elk. I'm loving me this card done with eagle on the side stepper. You have to see this one to really appreciate it. When I fold it down, these components over here look a little squished, but when it's standing up, you really have a good view of all the components, and it's really pretty with the eagle. I love the colors in this. This one, I think it speaks for itself. I love this with the horses. It looks a little floppy when I'm holding it up and trying to give you a view, but it's not floppy at all when it's sitting down. Isn't that pretty? Now these on my TV, these appear to be blue. Jewel dazzles are actually purple, and they really match the card nicely. Can you roll up so I can see the comments? And boy, I love this. Really, 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 really like this card. Beautiful. So that is the Meant to Be Together set. Is it lavender or purple? These here, these are actually deep violet purple. They don't look at on screen, but they're deep violet purple. The light's playing some tricks on our eyes, but they're deep, beautiful, deep purple, holographic. Okay, this one is something about standing out. It's the peacock and flamingos and the hummingbird one. These card kits came in very, very affordably priced with and without the toppers. I love this card right here. Love, love, love this card. We're cutting that filigree piece for you. We've already packaged up all the little velvet and satin flowers. You're going to get that trio of leaves. The cutout one that looked floppy. This one, all of the jewel dazzles are the same. And then the card base, this is actually adorable, scoreable, 300 GSM or 350 GSM card base that this is created on. It's really not floppy at all when it's standing up, though. It looks gorgeous. So we've got lavender in the base, and we've got those. This is really a deep purple. It almost looks black, but it's deep purple. And then these little jewel dazzles. I actually have jewel dazzles all the way up the sides here too. They're not catching the light as much today, but I have jewel dazzles on all the little points there also. And those are violet, deep violet color. Okay, so we move from flamingos. This one has a Kathy Girl bow on it. I love that teal ribbon with these peacocks. It made me really happy. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Let's get the other flamingo out here, or peacock out here. And I didn't do much with the peacocks on either card because they're so beautiful and vibrant, and the foiling is so spectacular on these that my only additions were the jewel dazzles. I put jewel dazzles into the middle of the peacock feathers just to add a little bit of extra glitz, and then the bows, only the jewel dazzles and the bows are added because they're just spectacular just the way they're printed. It's just a matter of taking one spectacular image and putting it on paper. I really am pleased with this one, with the hummingbirds. I really, really like this. I don't know what it is that I love about it. I just love it. I like the way it looks. It just speaks to me. It's a fun, interesting looking card. It's one that you can look at for a while, and feel like you're capturing the details. But I love this one. 5 cards in each of these kits. I could have gotten 6 out of this one if I'd done those toppers separately, but I was having fun playing with them. That's just the truth. That's the truth. And then it was 5 out of this one too. The 2 horses, the 2 elk, and the eagle. So great values. I think they work out to, with the kit, in the class kit with the kit, they work out to like $2.70 a card. It's excellent, excellent, excellent value, especially when you consider the time to cut all those card bases and filigree and they're great prices. So that's what I've got for you. I will keep working on cards. I'll get Brittany started hopefully soon on the Craftiganza things, getting those listed. I'm going to put up the individual toppers. You can never tell from the collection packs what the individual cards look like. We're not going to pre-sell the individual cards. We're just going to pre-sell the Craftiganza bundles. But I'm going to put up the listings for the individual cards so you can see what the topper sets look like within the bundles, because I think that's a good way to make your choices and decisions. So that's what we're going to do. Any questions, comments, or pearls of wisdom? Did everybody mash that like button, I hope? Thank you if you did. And I think that's it, unless there's any questions about anything. Give you just a minute to respond because of that lag time. Thank you, thank you. Thanks for tuning in, hanging out with me, having some fun making cards, and I will see you on Saturday. Till then, let me say good night, Gracie.